The smirk ruined everything. Not the roses, not the vows, not the gold-trimmed altar, just that smirk, William's, as Emily walked down the aisle. The church was dressed in white roses and gold, guests gleaming in designer pride. But no amount of beauty could mask the tension as Emily appeared, bouquet of wild flowers in hand, wearing a second-hand dress sewn by someone who loved her. William turned at the altar, tall, polished, arrogant. And then he smirked, a cruel, knowing twist of the mouth. A few friends chuckled. One whispered behind his hand. Emily tightened her grip on the flowers. Her spine stayed straight, head high. She kept walking. When she reached him, he leaned in. "No better dress at the thrift store?" She didn't flinch, just smiled, slight, measured. That was his first warning, and he missed it. The ceremony blurred. Vows, applause, forced cheer. William's family barely acknowledged her, except Clara Ara, his sister, who watched Emily like a hawk. She didn't see nervousness, she saw control. At the reception, William gave a speech full of smug jokes about simplicity and humble roots. His friends roared. Emily raised her glass and smiled like none of it touched her, but her mother's words echoed in her mind. Patience is the weapon of the underestimated. She hadn't married for love. She came for answers. Possibly revenge. That night, William was drunk, passed out by 3 a.m. Emily sat at the window, dress folded away, watching the city lights. She whispered to her reflection, "You're in. Let it begin." From her suitcase, she pulled a worn notebook. Names, dates, photos. Not a love story. A blueprint, flashback. A younger Emily, her mother crying outside a mansion gate. "That's your father's house. But we're not welcome here." Now? She was back. Not as a maid, not as a guest, as a bride. The next morning, William grumbled over coffee. Emily suggested a private honeymoon. "You don't make those calls," he snapped. She wasn't looking at him. She was staring at a childhood photo on the nightstand. William, held by the man her mother once described in whispers. Her fingers twitched. The final piece had appeared. William didn't know it yet, but this marriage wasn't the beginning of his fairy tale. It was the unraveling, and Emily, the girl he mocked, held the thread. William's voice cut through the silence. "You think you're clever?" he snapped at Emily in the study. "But this, whatever this is, it won't last." Emily didn't look up from her book. "Be careful who you threaten," she said evenly. "Some women break. Others remember." He scoffed, but the shift was undeniable. Staff looked to her now. Clara Ara had grown distant, and his grip on the house was slipping. That night, Emily opened a small velvet box. Inside wasn't her wedding band, but a man's ring, her father's. The only thing her mother had kept. She placed it beside the bed. Tomorrow she'd visit Harold's grave. It was time to speak to the man who started a story he never finished. The Lancaster burial grounds were hidden behind a hedge at the estate's edge. Discreet, private, meant for legacies. Emily walked alone, mist curling around her ankles, a single white lily in hand. She found Harold's headstone, polished, proud. She knelt, silent. Then, "I found your letters," she whispered. "You said if I ever came back, I should forgive you." She placed the flower against the stone. "But you never gave me a father. You let them erase me. You let them humiliate my mother." Her voice hardened. "I'm not here for your money. I'm here for the truth." Behind a tree, Clara Ara watched. She had followed Emily. And now, watching her speak to Harold's grave, she knew the truth. Emily wasn't an intruder. She was family. And Clara Ara didn't know if that made her a protector or a traitor. At the estate, William paced. Emily was getting into people's heads, into his head. At dinner, even his cousin had corrected him, in front of guests. And, "Emily?" She just smiled. When Emily returned, Clara Ara was waiting. "Can we talk?" She laid a photograph on the table, a woman, a child. "That's you, isn't it?" Emily didn't answer. "He loved your mother," Clara Ara said quietly. "She brought light here, and then she vanished. No one said why." "She died 2 years ago," Emily said. "She never stopped loving him." "You could destroy this family," Clara Ara said. Emily met her eyes. "I don't want to destroy it. I want to expose it," Clara Ara sighed. "That's worse." Meanwhile, William had hired a fixer, James Carter, ruthless, discreet. "Find out who she really is," William ordered. "I don't care how far. You go." That night, Emily found an envelope on her nightstand. Inside, a photo of her and her mother at a street market. On the back, in her mother's handwriting, "They will never see you coming. That's your greatest strength." Emily smiled. Her mother had prepared her well. The next morning, Emily summoned the family's financial advisor. No one had ever done that before. But Lyle agreed, curious. She entered the boardroom in a navy suit. William sneered. "You don't belong here." Emily sat down. "Neither do liars." She came armed, with documents, questions, and a purpose. Clara Ara watched, silent. This wasn't a bride. This was a storm. Later, William cornered her. "What are you doing?" "If you want the truth," she said, "you're not ready for it." In the attic, Mrs. Penrose opened a drawer she hadn't touched in years. Inside, letters, photos, and at the bottom, a birth certificate. Emily's name. Father, Harold Lancaster. She had kept it, just in case. In her room, Emily stared into the mirror. The innocence was gone. Her eyes were focused, steady. On her vanity sat a folder, Harold's letters, estate ledgers, and an ultrasound photo. She had been erased. Now she would be undeniable. The next day, Clara Ara entered with a manila envelope. Inside, bank records. Payments made to Emily's mother for over a decade. "He paid her to vanish," Clara Ara said. "But he never stopped." Emily blinked. "So he didn't forget us." "No," Clara Ara said. "But he was still a coward." Carter returned to William with more. Her mother, Rose Taylor. Paralegal. Harold had an affair, denied it, then paid her off. William's voice cracked. "That makes Emily—" Carter. "Your aunt." William staggered. No, that's not possible." "It is, and it's about to get worse." That evening, during a formal dinner with the Lancaster board, Emily stood. The room hushed. She placed an envelope on the table in front of William. "I think it's time everyone knew who I really am." She opened it herself. Birth certificate. Letters. "I'm Harold Lancaster's biological daughter," she said calmly. "Hidden, denied, bought into silence." Board member asked, "Do you have proof?" Emily handed it over. "And under state law, I have the right to claim my share of this estate." William exploded. "She's lying!" Then Mrs. Penrose stepped forward. "No, she's not." She held the original certificate. "I kept it. I was there. I held the baby. Harold swore me to silence. But the truth always finds a way." The room descended into chaos. Emily stood calm. "I'm not here to tear this family apart," she said. "But I won't live in its shadow anymore." Later, William cornered Clara Ara. "You knew." She didn't blink. "I helped the truth. She's a fraud. She's your aunt. Show some respect." Emily sat alone, the house buzzing with whispers and fear. She'd done what she came to do, but it was only the beginning, and her mother had been right. They never saw her coming. His absence wasn't peace. It was a vacuum. Tension thickened the air. Some staff walked lighter. Others avoided eye contact. Emily had risen, but not everyone liked how. Power, even earned, unsettles, especially in a house where secrets grow like vines. Emily moved quickly, meetings, with auditors, policy rewrites with Clara Ara, damage control. No more hidden deals, she said. If we rebuild, it's with clean hands. Clara Ara nodded. You'll make enemies. Emily's answer was quiet. I already have, but William wasn't gone. From his hotel downtown, he pulled strings, sharp, venom-laced ones. He called Thomas Bellamy, a board ally with a blade-thin smile. You want her gone? I want the public to bury her, William said. Bellamy grinned. I know just how. That night, a package arrived for Clara Ara. No return address. Inside, press drafts, a photo, Emily's mother, handcuffed, surrounded by officers. Headline, Lancaster heir's mother, arrested for embezzlement. Emily read it without blinking, folded the papers. They went after her. Clara Ara whispered, Is it true? Emily nodded. They framed her. She never recovered. Does anyone else know? Not yet, but they will. The press exploded. Emily, once praised for her poise, was recast. Manipulative, dangerous, illegitimate. Board members turned cold. Meetings vanished. The rejection was familiar, her mother's story repeating. That evening, rain fell hard. Emily stood in the garden, soaked and silent. Clara Ara found her. You need to respond. Emily shook her head. Not yet. Let them misjudge me again. But the betrayals deepened. Mrs. Penrose, once loyal, was meeting Bellamy. She claimed to have letters that proved Rose was guilty. Bellamy paid. She accepted. 2 days later, Emily found an unsigned envelope on her desk. A photo, Penrose with Bellamy. A letter in her mother's handwriting. They'll never believe me. Not if he speaks first. At the bottom, Arthur Bellamy, Harold's old partner, the man who exiled Rose. Emily confronted Penrose. The woman. Broke. I thought he just wanted to correct the record. Emily's voice was cold. You sold my mother's fear to the man who destroyed her, Penrose sobbed. You've stirred ghosts we never wanted back. Emily called Clara Ara. We're not just fighting for power, we're fighting for truth. Clara Ara replied, Then we fight louder. The next day, Emily spoke publicly. My mother was flawed, but not a liar, and not a thief. I know. I lived it. She looked into the camera. I will not be erased. The video exploded online. Her calm, her pain. People believed her. The narrative shifted. Sympathy returned. But Bellamy seethed. She's weaponizing emotion, he spat, slamming a folder. He pulled an old company ledger, scanning for ammunition. He found it. Massive off-book payments. Initials AB. The week Rose disappeared. Meanwhile, Emily prepared. Her next move. A private meeting with 2 neutral board members. Clara Ara said, If they sign, the vote passes. Emily didn't plead. She laid out the evidence. I'm not burning this company. I'm cleaning it. Later, Clara Ara handed her a new stack of documents from Harold's unsealed safe. Emily flipped through, then froze. A letter, not to her, but to Arthur Bellamy. You promised to protect her. You chose the firm over your soul. Behind it, a bank transfer, Arthur to a private clinic. Then, an unsigned request for institutional care. Her mother hadn't just vanished. She'd been committed, drugged, erased. Emily's hands shook. They locked her away, she whispered. Clara Ara leaned in. This isn't about inheritance anymore. No, Emily said. It's about justice. She filed a formal petition to investigate the 1995 Bellamy Trust. The legal team flinched. You're setting off a bomb, Clara Ara warned. Emily's voice was steel. Good, Bellamy raged. She's digging up ghosts. He called William. She's going after the trust. William laughed. You buried the past, old man. Now dig. Then came the visitor, a woman at the gate. Red scarf, no bag. "I'm Elena Marsh," she said. "I worked at the clinic where your mother was held." She handed Emily a letter. Yellowed. Sealed. Emily opened it. Her mother's words. "They can take my name, but not my blood. She will return, and they will fear her." Emily's throat tightened. "You waited just long enough," she told Elena. She turned toward the estate. It was time to burn the mask. Inside the great hall, she stared at the dustless chandelier. Once beauty, now distraction. She met Clara Ara in Harold's old study. "The Bellamy Trust isn't a fund," she said. "It's a vault of buried crimes." Clara Ara nodded. "Your mother wasn't their first victim, just the first who fought back." Emily's tone was final. "Subpoena everything. You'll make enemies," Clara Ara warned again. "Then they'd better not miss." Bellamy struck back. "An emergency board meeting. She's destabilizing us," he barked. "We vote her out." The motion failed. Emily stayed. Bellamy stormed out. William watched, smiling from afar. Then came Emily's press conference. Courthouse. Steps. Cameras flashing. "I am petitioning to unseal the Bellamy Trust and investigate the institutionalization of Rose Taylor. This is not a family feud. It's a reckoning." Her voice cut through. "I'm here to finish the sentence my mother never got to say." The public rallied. Former employees came forward. A nurse confirmed she wasn't crazy. She was terrified. Back, at the estate, Penrose watched, shaking. She picked up the phone. "There's something I never told you," she whispered to Clara Ara. "The night Rose was taken." Harold tried to stop it, but it wasn't his call anymore. Arthur had him cornered, and he threatened to expose. "I was never unstable," Emily said. "I was inconvenient, and now I'm inevitable." Clara's hands gripped the wheel. Rain tapped the windshield as the Lancaster car wound through forgotten forest roads. Emily sat beside her, scanning the same intake file on repeat. The silence between them wasn't empty. It was loaded. "What if there's nothing left?" Clara asked quietly. Emily didn't look up. "Then we let silence scream." The Ridgeview Clinic was now a luxury retreat. Rebranded, repainted, but the bones remained. Narrow windows, sterile halls, and whispers trapped in the walls. Dr. Jensen, all forced smiles and quick answers, tried brushing them off with a fire story. Emily slid a flash drive across the desk. "We have backups. I want staff from 1995. The director flinched. Clara leaned in. "We're not asking. This becomes legal or it becomes public." That worked. Down a side hall, 2 retired. Nurses still worked part-time. One, Martha Doyle, froze at the photo of Anna and Rose. "I remember." Rose was scared. Anna didn't speak. She just drew. Pages of it. They followed her to a damp, forgotten storage room. Inside a box marked Dellen, restricted, were Anna's drawings. Jagged rooms, a long dining table, a man with a cigar, a woman in pearls. Things she should never have known, unless she'd lived there. One drawing stopped Emily cold. A girl, a silver bracelet, 2 women behind her, Rose and Anna. The girl's chest marked in red. Below, "Ours," Emily whispered. "She used to say, 'I was theirs before I was hers.'" I thought she meant the family. Maybe she meant something else. Martha recalled something else, Anna said, over and over. One was born. One was buried. One became the secret. Emily understood. It wasn't gibberish. It was prophecy. They laid Anna's drawings across the study floor. A pattern emerged, the same wing of the estate drawn over and over. Clara blinked. "That's the East Gallery. It burned in '96. "Not an accident," Emily said. "A purge." By flashlight, they traced the overgrown path. Beneath moss and soot, they found a trap door. Cold air bled from it. "This wasn't a gallery," Clara murmured. "No," Emily said. "It was a vault. Inside, furniture, old wealth, and in the far corner, an iron chest. Locked, picked, opened, documents, photos, medical records, one. Labeled, Project Initiated, 1984. A list of names. Emily Rose Devlin. Clara gasped. "That's not your last name," Emily's breath caught. It was. Each page shattered her past. Her mother hadn't just saved her from scandal. She'd saved her from being owned. Project Deline wasn't medical. It was genealogical curation, behavioral study, children bred, monitored. Anna was the first. Emily, the last. Anna's file ended, in red ink. Memory regression, inconvenient, recommend closure. Closure meant disappearance. Silence. When Rose resisted, she vanished too. Emily stood in the ruins, heart racing. They buried the gallery, the clinic, me. That night, Emily held a press conference, not at court, but in the Lancaster ballroom. She spoke beneath the family crest. She named names, showed files, told truths. "My name is Emily Rose Devlin," she said, "and I remember." The room exploded in applause. Not polite. Real. Bellamy, watching from his office, went cold. He knew. In the public eye, he'd already lost. But the next day, they struck back. A cease and desist signed by board members who flipped overnight. "They're claiming you fabricated everything," Clara said. "If this sticks, it's over." Emily didn't flinch. "Then we don't fight in court. We fight in public." She went live that night, not from a stage, but seated in the Lancaster Library. Quiet, centered, fire behind her eyes. "You've heard their story," she said. "Let me show you mine." She walked viewers through each chapter, then played a recording. Arthur Bellamy, a decade-old call. The Devlin girl was unstable. Her mother was collateral. "I have no regrets." Emily stared into the lens. "I wasn't unstable. I was inconvenient. And now I'm inevitable." The internet erupted. Board members scrambled. The next morning, they sent an offer. Silence for a fortune. Emily tore it in half. No price buys back a stolen life. She met the board in person. This time, not as a threat, as a force. She demanded dissolution of the trust, a full audit. Public apologies. Her appointment as executive director. They voted, one by one. Yes, yes, yes. Clara voted last. Yes, Emily stood. "We don't rebuild in their image. We stop burying the past. We name it. The Lancaster estate didn't look different. But it had changed. For good." That night, Emily returned alone to the ruins. She knelt where the vault had been. Her mother's photo in one hand, Anna's sketchbook in the other. "You were never crazy," she whispered. "You were just too loud for a house built on silence." Then she burned the darkest files, not to hide the truth, but to end the sickness. And when the flames died, she didn't just feel free. She felt clean.